Sarah worked at the medical examiner's office in New York City, a place where hundreds of people died every day for countless reasons: illness, murder, or suicide. Her job was to help collect and transport the bodies from the scene to the morgue or funeral home, depending on the coroner's decision. It was a heavy, haunting occupation. Sarah constantly faced horrific sights: bodies drenched in blood, mangled beyond recognition, or decomposing with a nauseating stench. Though she tried to remain professional, she could never be fully detached. Every night, when she returned to her small apartment, the faces of the dead and the stories behind them lingered vividly in her mind, refusing to let her rest. Sarah always tried to keep her composure, but exhaustion grew deeper with each passing day. The memories haunted her, especially the tragic deaths. She often sat quietly in her apartment, warming a simple meal, trying to shut her mind off. Yet her thoughts kept spiraling. Who were they? Were they happy? What led them to their end? Those questions played endlessly. Her pain deepened whenever she thought of her husband, who had died over a year ago. He had been her anchor, and after losing him, her world collapsed. She forced herself to keep working, but every body she saw reminded her of him. Each night, she stood under the shower for hours, letting the hot water run down her body as if it could wash away the grief. But nothing ever did. That night, after a long, weary day, Sarah followed her usual routine, turned on the lights, reheated her dinner, and ate in silence. Yet the gruesome images from work still echoed in her mind. She stepped into the shower, letting the water cascade down, hoping it could soothe her tension. But suddenly the bathroom light flickered and went out. She sighed, unbothered. The old apartment often had power issues. Wrapping herself in a towel, she fumbled for a match and lit a candle. Her trembling shadow danced across the walls as she carried the small flame into her bedroom, setting it gently on the nightstand. In the dim glow, the memories of the dead crept back: the lifeless eyes, the cold skin. She told herself to be strong, but sleep refused to come. At last, after hours of restlessness, she closed her eyes, surrendering to uneasy dreams. The following night seemed ordinary. After dinner and a shower, she locked the windows and turned off the lights. But as her hand touched the switch, a chill ran down her spine. Someone was there. She turned, and in the fading light saw a small shadow standing in the doorway. Her heart stopped. She switched the light back on. Nothing. Silence. Only her pounding heartbeat. "Just my imagination," she whispered, though fear tightened her chest. Then, a withered hand appeared at the edge of the wall, clutching the doorframe, followed by a faceless head slowly leaning out. Sarah froze, clutching her blanket, eyes wide with terror. The small figure stepped soundlessly into the room, vanishing for a moment before reappearing at the foot of her bed. In the candlelight, she saw him, a small, deformed man, his face pale and cold. She wanted to scream, but her throat locked up, leaving only trembling breaths in the heavy silence. The little man sat down at the edge of the bed, speaking in a calm, low voice. He told her not to be afraid. He wouldn't hurt her, only wanted to talk. His tone was oddly gentle, sorrowful even. Slowly, Sarah relaxed. They talked through the night, about her childhood, her work, her late husband. She confessed everything: her grief, her loneliness, her fear of death. The man listened quietly, nodding now and then, as if he understood it all. By dawn, Sarah drifted into sleep, peaceful for the first time in over a year. No nightmares, no screams, only stillness. The next morning, Sarah woke with a lightness she hadn't felt in ages. The day passed normally, free from the usual dread. That evening, she ate, went to bed early, and smiled faintly as she closed her eyes. But just as she began to drift off, she sensed a strange presence behind her. Turning over, she saw a small envelope resting on the nightstand. Her heart froze. It was the same kind of envelope found at every death scene she'd ever worked. In that instant, she understood. The man's visit wasn't chance. It was a summons. Her time had come. A wave of sorrow and fear washed over her as Sarah realized she had unknowingly crossed the boundary between the living and the dead.